Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. I'm pleased to be joined by Beth again from the United stand to discuss all things Man United ahead of that game at Old Trafford on Sunday. Beth, kick us off. What's your thoughts on your season so far, please?
I mean, I think a lot of people that have seen Manchester United throughout the season, I think could know what I'm feeling about Man United. But we have just come off the back of what feels like a pivotal game for us this season. First time all season that Erik has had his best 11 on paper play together. We've been injury ridden all season. It's not an excuse, but we have had a really poor season. It's completely inconsistent. The style of play hasn't been there. The results have been shocking, to be honest with you. But last night we saw a glimmer of hope. We saw some patterns of play. We saw our best 11 played together. That's Erik ten Hag's team, and we looked pretty decent. Even though the scoreline was 4-3, realistically we should have been up 4-0 at half time. But we won the game, and hopefully we can build off that going into the West Ham game. But we'll see.
Yeah, I never caught last night's game. Obviously, West Ham were playing at the same time. To see you score 4 goals, I was quite surprised, truth be told, because when I've seen you this season, you've been quite, I say goal shy. You've been quite shy of creating chances for Hoyland in particular, if you like. Obviously, there's a lot of talk about Man United at the minute. Every time I turn it on, there's something new, whether it's the ownership, whether it's the manager, whether it's Marcus Rashford going out clubbing, whatever. There's always something at the minute. But let's talk about Ten Hag first of all. What's your thoughts on your manager currently?
I'm still behind Erik ten Hag. I know a lot of the fan base are questioning him a lot and are very kind of dubious on whether he could be the right manager for Manchester United. I've got to put my hands up and say this season, oh my word, I've had my doubts. Like there's been some really poor substitutions. Like we've heard the same narrative over and over again. Ange Postecoglou's been in the door for, a few months, and he's managed to get a style of play going. Ten Hag's been here 18 months, and we're not really seeing it. So there's been a lot of question marks on Erik ten Hag. Obviously, he's had a lot to deal with behind the scenes in terms of disciplinary stuff. There's the ownership and everything like that. But to be honest with you, he has said a lot of the time injuries have massively halted us. And as fans, you think that's just an excuse and everyone's had injuries. But when it's the spine of your team, when it's the players you rely on, like the likes of Casemiro, the likes of Martinez, that is a big difference for us. Luke Shaw as well is a huge one. So they're back in the team now, and things, I know it's only one game, they are looking better. So what it is for me with Ten Hag, I'm not happy with this season at all, and I do think as a manager you should be able to coach the players you have, and I do agree with what a lot of people say. It has been such a poor season, but what he did last year, which was taking the worst ever point scoring Man United team in the Premier League, getting us in the Champions League, getting into 2 finals and winning one of them, I think it at least gives him the rest of the season to prove why he should be the new manager under our new ownership model. And I hope he does that. I hope from last night we can kick on and we can start to see more of it. Because if we play like that in the rest of the games this season, we'll have a very good chance. I know the scoreline was dubious in the 4-3, but a good away performance. So hopefully we can kick on from there.
Speaking about the remainder of the season, what's your hopes for it?
I mean, people keep talking about top 4. I see that very unrealistic, if I'm being honest with you, because I just see the likes of Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs. I don't see us getting ahead of any of them teams. And then you look around, you've got Aston Villa, who look really strong. Newcastle are still strong. West Ham are doing really well. Like, there's so many teams in and around it, and I just think we've left it too late to get into that race. I hope I'm wrong. I think Europa League is probably the best we can hope for. I don't want to be in the Conference League. I really don't. No disrespect to the Conference League. I know you guys have won it and stuff, but it's just I'd rather us have the time on the training ground than be in that competition. Europa League I'd obviously take, because I think that's a good competition to be in, and be able to kind of play some of your second string players and give them a little bit of time. So yeah, Europa League, and I think the main thing for us as well is the FA Cup. We want to go as far as we can in that. We got to the final last year. I don't think there's any reason why we should be not doing the same thing this year. I know we've been poor, but I think on our day we have the opportunity to do that. So FA Cup, I think Ten Hag's got to put all of his eggs in that basket. But the thing is, though, with the likes of Liverpool and City in that competition, it just makes it really difficult, because they're 2 teams that are really, really tough to overcome. But top 4 would be nice, but I just don't think it'll happen.
Just to quickly interrupt this video, because I've got 2 questions for you. Question number 1. Are you capable of inserting data onto an online form? Excellent. Clearly you do not work at West Ham and you can take advantage of our HelloFresh offer. And question number 2, are you fed up of the same meal every single week? It's pasta bolognese for me. It's pasta bolognese for you as well. I bet it's pasta bolognese or pizza, but we've all got that meal that we have every single week and gets a bit boring. But if you're fed up just like me, then you should definitely be taking advantage of our fantastic offer from HelloFresh. The January transfer window is over and done with, but there's one last good deal to be had, and that's 60% off your first box, 20% off your next 2 boxes, plus free gifts with HelloFresh. So you fancy going onto their website and taking advantage of their wide range of recipes? That's my favourite thing. I like going on there, seeing things I've never heard of, and I don't even know how to pronounce a lot of the meals, but I enjoy making them because when it arrives at your door, it's got the ingredients you need, fresh ingredients, simple recipe, step by step, really easy to follow. Some meals can be made in under 20 minutes, so you save time, you reduce food wastage as well, and you try new things, in my case, things I've never heard of and I can't pronounce. Anyway, if you would like to take advantage of the offer, there's 3 ways that you can do this. First of all, you can scan the QR code that's on your screen right now. Second of all, you can use the link that's in the description. And third of all, you can go into HelloFresh, start typing in your data and use the code HAMMERS24 and that will get you 60% off your first box, 20% off your next 2 boxes and free gifts as well. And plus, you prove that you could actually do something that West Ham couldn't on transfer deadline day as well, and that's insert data. Simple as that. So, if you fancy a better deal than what Leon got with Saeed Benrahma, get joined up to HelloFresh. Back to the video. Do you think you can maybe get 5th and then hope that the English teams make up for Man United going out of the Champions League early and do well in the coefficients and get England that extra Champions League spot?
I hope so. That's something I'm very, very hopeful for. But even still, looking in and around, I'm not, like, based on what we've done for the previous half of the season, you wouldn't say Man United get
No.
5th. You wouldn't. Like, we've been so poor. So I'm not going to let one game skew my vision on that. So I hope Man United can prove me wrong. But realistically, I was thinking probably 6th, the end of the season, it'd be Man United's kind of where I think we'll end up. But I hope that I get proved wrong on that.
In regards to the change of ownership or slight change of ownership at the minute, what's the story there? I'll be honest with you, I kept up to date with it and then it felt like it dragged on for a considerable amount of time. And during that period, I lost any sort of interest and then other things happened, such as Everton's points deduction and stuff, that sort of took over from the Man United takeover, if you like. So what's going on with that? And as a fan, what hope is that giving you? What are you hoping to see change with Ratcliffe involved now?
Well, what's going on is that Ratcliffe and his team, Ineos team, are through the door. It's not, everything's not 100% official yet, as in, you know, he's like fully in there, but it's very, very close, and he is going to be controlling the football inside of Manchester United, and he's going to have 25% stake. So you look at that, he's brought in Sir Dave Brailsford, who's done brilliantly in the cycling world, to be on his board of Ineos's kind of section when they go into the board meetings with the Glazers. That Sir Dave Brailsford will be there. Jean-Claude Blanc will be there as well, who has done brilliant work at PSG and especially Juventus in building that club back up. So that's important for us. We've just appointed a new CEO in Omar Barada, which is brilliant because that was a Sir Dave Brailsford and Ratcliffe decision. The Glazers give it the okay, but that was their decision. Obviously, he was head of football operations at the City Group. So, and Pep in his post, I don't know if you saw his post-match press conference or the pre-match press conference where he got asked about that, and he seemed quite rattled. And if you've watched the City All or Nothing documentary, he seems brilliant. So excited for him to get started, and he's going to be taking on the role of helping appoint a sporting director, which is something Man United have not had for years, and it's massively hindered us in terms of recruitment. We'll also hopefully be employing a head of recruitment as well. I know we've been looking at Dan Ashworth, Paul Mitchell, both great names in the footballing world who have done great stuff with a number of different clubs. I mean, Dan Ashworth with Brighton and Newcastle, and then Paul Mitchell, he worked at Spurs, he's worked at the Red Bull Group. So that is good for us because currently our situation is Ten Hag's just doing everything, and we know that managers, they should be focused on coaching the team. They should be involved in the recruitment, but it shouldn't be completely down to them. And this is where we've seen the signings of nearly 90 million on Anthony creep in. You know, was Onana the right thing to do? So you need a sporting director to sort of veto this with the manager. Pep Guardiola speaks so highly of his. Liverpool sporting director was very crucial in getting Mo Salah in. And this is what top managers need. They need someone who's going to work with them, know their style of play, work in a cohesion and do that. So I think where Man United have gone massively wrong over the years is not only letting the standards of the club drop in and around the place and the stadiums kind of deteriorating, and maybe the training ground could be better, but the main problem I think we've got is our recruitment has been absolutely terrible, and that's something that needs to change. So hopefully in the summer we'll see that turn around with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and we can start to build up to be a club and catch up with the rest of the big clubs that have gone ahead of us.
Lovely, thank you for that. That was a nice little snapshot
Sorry.
into what Man Utd. No, I like it. It's like I said, I tried to keep up to date with everything, but it's difficult. It's hard enough to keep up to date with your own club, never mind the other 19 in the Premier League as well. In terms of players, then, for those who perhaps haven't watched Man United much this season, which players are in form at the minute and should we be looking out for on Sunday?
I mean, not many are informed, to be honest, but what's carrying us through right now and what's the shining light is our young players coming out for our academy. So Alejandro Garnacho has had a really good season. He seems to be Erik ten Hag's favoured winger at the moment. He'll play on the right. He can play on his predominant position is on the left, but he's been playing on the right to accommodate Rashford. But then, Rashford got subbed off last night and Garnacho still carried on. He's been brilliant. So Garnacho's one to watch out for sure. Kobbie Mainoo, I'm sure you've heard that name going round, and he's just been a revelation. I actually watched him in the under-23s last year, and I knew how good he was going to be, and I didn't think Ten Hag would integrate him this quickly, but he obviously knows the talent he's got in his hands. Just put it this way, our last 3 players of the month, Garnacho's had 2 of them, Kobbie Mainoo's had the recent one. So this is a 19-year-old and 18-year-old. It says a lot about how off the mark our senior players have been, but them players, the Garnacho, Kobbie Mainoo, Højlund as well, 20, just coming into his form now. Scored again last night, a proper striker's goal. He looks brilliant, got an assist for Rashford, which was really good awareness. And as well, even though Rashford's had a poor season, he obviously had his whole incident in Belfast, and he looked like he had a point to prove last night, scored a great goal and had a good performance. So probably not the best time for you to be facing Man United, really, because it seems like we've maybe going to hit this pivotal point where we're going to turn it around. We're at home, but we've said this across the season that it's not ended up happening, so we'll have to wait and see.
And turning our attentions to that game on Sunday then, and before we do that, actually, West Ham, what do you think of us? What do you make of our team?
I think West Ham are building a really good team, honestly. I think when you look at the players West Ham have, and I know you've had some injuries and some players aren't available, but you kind of just look at your starting 11 on paper. You've got the likes of Paqueta, who I think is a great player. I mean, midfield, you've got James Ward-Prowse. I do think Calvin Phillips is a decent player. The only bit I saw of your game was before we kicked off, and I saw him give that ball away to Solanke. So I don't know how he played the rest of the game, but I think he's a decent player, and I think he will do well for you guys. I mean, you look at Jared Bowen, excellent. Kudus, I wish we got him instead of Anthony. I don't know how Ten Hag managed to pick Anthony over Kudus. And then you look at your back line as well, and even Areola in net, like he's doing really well. So I think West Ham are building a really good starting 11. It's just whether you can kind of kick on to that next level under David Moyes. But I think you've got to give him credit, and the starting 11 you're building is good. And you look at it on paper compared to Man United, a lot of your players are way more in form and doing better than ours. So I think you look at that, and I think West Ham are doing really well.
Do you think we can kick on under David Moyes? That was an interesting comment you just said there within the answer.
It's a tough one because I can understand as West Ham fans why you'd be frustrated, because I think there is a sort of ceiling on him. I think I feel harsh on him because he has won you the Europa Conference League. He's done well with that side. He's built a good team. And, another one I would say, Alvarez, bringing him in as well, he's been a great addition to your midfield. And he's first of all, when Paqueta came in, it seemed like he didn't quite know how to use that sort of player, but now he's adjusted to him and he's doing really well in the team. I think you've got to give him a bit of time and he's got a bit of credit in the bank to kick on. If he can't do it, then you've got to look elsewhere. But with the team you've got and the players you've got, there definitely should be a hunger in West Ham to kick on to the next level and play, a style of football which maybe is a little bit more free-flowing and attacking based. But West Ham has started to do that, but they can build on maybe potentially even a bit more.
Right, but before we talk about the game then, crystal ball time first. Where will West Ham finish at the end of the season? And Europa League, are we winning it, Beth?
Do you know what? There's a good chance. but Liverpool are in it, so I mean,
Yeah, Liverpool, Leverkusen. There's a few decent teams in there at the minute.
it's a tough one because Xavi Alonso is doing brilliantly with Leverkusen, but I always say this, the Premier League is the toughest league in the world, so that's where you kind of get to see them sort of teams go against each other and see really where the level is. But Leverkusen are doing brilliantly. Liverpool, I think, for Klopp this season with him leaving, I think it's going to be really tough. I think you've got to hope that another team knocks them out, maybe even like a Leverkusen or something like that. But there's no reason why you can't be competing in it, for sure, with the players that you've got. I mean, West Ham, currently they're in 6th. You're 1 point ahead of us. I mean, where are West Ham going to finish? I think 6th could be on for you guys. I really do. I mean, what are your hopes for the season in terms of finishing? 8th. Okay, so you're looking at it quite realistically then, because
it's been, to be fair, Ben, it's been 8th from the start of the season, because of just where we were as a squad, the players we brought in and stuff. I thought 8th, and also because of the reason for 8th is because if everything happens and goes our way, and that is Liverpool win the Carabao Cup, someone in the top 5, 6 wins the FA Cup, so not you, and the English teams do well in European football, so the Champions League 5th spot does come to England, that would mean that 8th qualifies for the Conference League. Now, I get why you dismiss it as a Man United fan. I get it. And I know why West Ham fans would dismiss it as well, because we've already won it and it's not that prestigious. I understand why they perhaps wouldn't want to be in it again. It would see it as a disappointment. But I've got used to European football. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And if we were in the Conference League next year, I'd want to go win the bloody thing again. So if we can get 8th and have a little bit of luck elsewhere and qualify for European football again, and whether Moyes is here next season or it's a new manager, I would argue that competition would be a really good platform for a new manager, whereas you'd be expected to breeze through the group stages. And it gives a really good opportunity for the new manager to kick off his first season at the club with a trophy. And again, like I said, it's not as prestigious as the other ones. Of course, it's not. But bearing in mind we had to wait 43 years for the Conference League, if we had to wait 2 years for the one after it, I'm not going to complain too much. You can afford to be snobby towards the Conference League because you're Man United. You've won much bigger trophies. You will win much bigger trophies. I don't think we can afford to do that. So 8th is my hope.
One thing I would say is I'm looking at the table now. To be honest, I was saying 6th could be on, but now I'm looking at it, I would hope Man United do finish above you guys, and that I don't see you finishing above Villa, Tottenham, Spurs, Arsenal, Man City or Liverpool. So I think 7th, I think you can get above Newcastle. It just depends whether Newcastle kick on or not, because, so far this season, Newcastle have been quite poor like us and inconsistent. They've not maybe had the headlines that we've had, but they've struggled a little bit, but Newcastle, you just never know. They could kick on and have a great end to the season. So
they've got no European football now as well, so they've got a slight advantage over us there.
I think 7th or 8th is actually like a good call for you guys, to be honest. Now I'm properly looking at the table. The one thing I would say that I think you guys, like I said, you've got a great squad, and I think, great squad. I think you've got a good starting 11, maybe not squad. But when I look at your lineup and I'm looking at it now, I mean, you've got some good players in that starting 11. The one place where I think you could maybe you should have maybe filled it this January, but I don't know what about your financial situation, would be a striker, because Jared Bowen's excellent, isn't he? But you need like a proper centre forward. Yeah. Jared Bowen gets in that team no matter what, but you need a proper centre forward, I think.
Yeah, not too many will disagree with you there. Right, Sunday, how do you see the game going?
I think it's going to be tough for us. West Ham will go to Old Trafford believing they can go and get the win, and they should be in that mindset. I think 1-1 actually against Bournemouth is a decent result. Bournemouth have done really well. They're on some good form right now. So West Ham, I think, will go into that game hoping they can get the win. I do think, though, Man United will be on confidence after yesterday's late minute win. I think, doesn't look like we've picked up any injuries, touch wood, so we'll have our full strength 11 available again. I'm going to go with a 3-2 to Man United, I think it'll be high scoring, but I think we can just get the win at Old Trafford. I think it'll help us. Either a 3-2 or a 2-1. I think it'll just be a 1-goal margin again.
Yeah, I can't disagree. I think you'll win as well. I think Moyes has already done his press conference and it's already got that white flag about it, which is Old Trafford's a difficult. Oh, here we go. It's 2 days before the game. You've already demotivated me. While we got a good result against Bournemouth, we didn't play well. We had James Ward-Prowse playing left wing. James Ward-Prowse is not a left winger. Everyone knows James Ward-Prowse is not a left winger, but I don't think Paqueta's going to be back for the weekend. Antonio's still out.
That's one thing that I'm hoping for, that Paqueta isn't back, because
Yeah,
he's
I'd be
such a player.
surprised if he is, Beth. So I think we'll see the same starting 11 again. And we didn't really cause Bournemouth any problems in open play. We scored, it was a penalty, it was a Stonewall pen, but open play, we didn't really create anything. So I just struggled to see us scoring more than once on Sunday. So I agree with your 2-1 prediction. I think you'll beat us 2-1.
I watched the first half hour yesterday, and to be honest, Bournemouth were all over you and should have probably put a few more away. But 1-0's not a bad result.
No, I mean, we were slightly better in the second half because we moved Calvin Phillips left midfield. We moved James Ward-Prowse into the number 10. And I'm genuinely not even taking the piss out of you. We genuinely moved Calvin Phillips sort of left midfield and Ward-Prowse into the number 10 in order to combat what Bournemouth had to offer. So it was an interesting tactical deployment by David Moyes. So,
what do you make of the Calvin Phillips signing?
I like him. Big mistake against Bournemouth, but I think after that he was a bit shaky for the next 10-15 minutes. Gave the ball away cheap play, but I think he's a fantastic player, and we've only got 3 centre midfielders and Souček, Alvarez, and Ward-Prowse, and he plays all 3. We don't have any options, and when Alvarez isn't available, which is often due to playing for Mexico and his suspensions, we see a double pivot of Ward-Prowse and Souček in there, and it is horrific. It's worse than your McFred double pivot that you had.
I tell you what, you made a mistake not paying the extra few million for McTominay in the summer. You would have been great in that team.
You know I'm a McTominay fan. So
you would have been great in that team.
I know that, but it doesn't always go down popular with our subscribers. So
Sorry.
You've just spoken for 18 minutes, but someone's going to give you grief for that last minute. It doesn't always go down well.
I think, I like him. I mean, I would never have him near the starting 11 for United, but off the bench, he's decent for us. I think for a West Ham, I think he could be a good player. And that's not me, like, looking down on you, because you've done better than us this season. Like, I completely agree with that. But when you're talking long term.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I would have liked him. I see him for Scotland and he turns into like prime Iniesta. So I wouldn't have complained having him West Ham. But Beth, thank you so much. I appreciate it as always. If you'd like to hear and see more from Beth, well, you know where to find her. It's United Stan, but I'll put her Twitter account in the description below anyway. If you fancy, go and give her a follow. If you've enjoyed this video, please do drop a like on it by clicking thumbs up. Sky, we need to have much chat myself and Beth. We'll catch you next season.